Hello everyone, so this time I would like to share a video on how to stabilize a backpack in an animation. In this video I'll be using the default clothes avatar in animation, as well as I will use this basic corduroy backpack that you can find on Connect platform. If you search for this name, it is for free by Binary Fashion, so you can download it and follow along this video. Okay, so let's start. First of all, I want to dress my avatar a little bit, so I will add just this basic t-shirt, and I will also extend the hem a little bit. Like that. And now I will add the backpack. So it is under my items, and then here I will use the search, because sometimes it's very difficult to find it. And here I have it. Add to workspace. Here, if you work with existing file, uncheck this render properties, otherwise they will overwrite your own properties in case you have any. I can close that. Okay, here you have the pattern pieces, and the backpack is already simulated, but I have this t-shirt which I want to put under the backpack. So I will do a few simple steps. First of all, deactivate the backpack by Ctrl J, and now select all the pattern pieces of the t-shirt and put shrinkage on 80. And now select the avatar and put skin offset on 0, simulate, and you can see it's kind of gathering underneath the backpack, so you will not have much difficulty simulating the backpack. So now I select all the pattern pieces of the backpack with Ctrl J, activate it, simulate, and as you can see, no big problem. Okay, and since we are doing animation, I do recommend putting skin offset to at least 2. 3, in my opinion, is a bit much, but really depends on your preferences. And I will put this back on 100. Okay, so here I will do some fine tuning, but it's not very relevant for the animation, so you can skip it. But in case you want to improve the look of this backpack, you can follow along, because I will do a few adjustments to make it look a little bit better. Okay, first adjustment is to reduce the extra length here. As you can see, there's some gathering. That means this flap pattern piece is longer than where it is sewn to, so this internal line, and that we can check with edit sewing. If you click here, the green sewing line, you can see there is 5 centimeter difference. So I can just move this side line by 5 centimeter, simulate. Most likely you will have some fabric like this peeking through. The easiest way how to fix that is to use mesh box, select the mesh in 3D to find which area you need to move. So it's this area, and move it inside, and it's fixed very easily. Now I want to add some elastic here, because I don't want to risk this part peeking through here. That can also cause some collision issues. So I will select this top edge of this pocket and add elastic of 80. Okay, no problem now. It's not gonna peek through. And then I noticed that there's some random pressure applied, so I will make sure to add pressure of 0 everywhere. Okay, then there is also some sewing difference here. And if you go check, this is the side, this piece. And you can see there's 12 millimeter distance, and I will move this line, but before that I have to add point at the end of this sewing line and point, in this case, at the beginning. So here, otherwise, if you, there's some sewing here, as you can see, some tiny sewing. So if you move this line by 12 millimeter, this sewing would be affected if you don't have a point here. Well, it's a very small thing, so you don't really have to worry about it. Even if you let it, even if you don't add any points, it's not gonna fall apart or anything. Just, yeah, one point to think about sometimes. Okay, now here I can see that there's a lot of like bending happening here, so I want to increase the length of the straps, and for that first I want to, this kind of looks a little bit messy. I want to make it, maybe with the strengthening I can strengthen it out. So first I will freeze this, and then I will go, oh, this tiny piece here is, I don't really need it. Of course, this is not like proper straps setup. You would have like length adjusters and all that, but just, it's a very simple backpack, so it's fine. You can also use it. And then I will add extra 9 centimeter. And I froze this part here so that this part doesn't fall down, but rather the bottom of the backpack is going down. Okay, some twisting. With superimpose over, we can fix it often quite quickly. The look is nice and clean, no problem. And overall I like that it's kind of collapsing. It has wrinkle, it will have good dynamic in the animation. It's not going to be just like stiff piece of something floating around. It will also have some very nice movement at the end. So I will keep it collapsing like this. However, the back part I really want to make stronger, because that will be also important at the end when we do animation. So here I will add this bond, and I will add this reinforcement here. It's a pretty strong bond, and it straightens everything out. The look is a little bit cleaner. Okay, and then here what you can else check is this zipper here. It's added by the zipper tool. There's no pattern piece for it, which is also great because you can adjust many things in the property editor. For example, here you can see particle distance is quite high, so I can put it on 10, so it's not so like breaking. And then the tape, I have already selected it. You can go down and adjust the physical properties. For example, I definitely don't want it to stretch at all, so I put high stretch values, high bend values. I want it to be quite stiff, and then this other stuff can stay as it is. Okay, and then for the animation I will put everything on particle distance 5. And the dress I will put on particle distance 7. And I can unfreeze this part. Just so this is a little bit nicer looking. I'll strengthen it, and I don't want to see these strengthened parts, so I right click in the 3D window, show hide color, hide all. Okay. So this is pretty good, the look is pretty good. And now let's see how it looks in animation if I don't do any fine tuning. So I go into animation mode. Oh, and before that, I wanted to mention one thing. In animation, you usually use this fitting accurate fabric because it gives a better and more stable animation than when you use the normal one. So I recommend before recording the animation, I recommend simulating your garment with this mode and check if everything is simulating correctly, if you don't have any layering issues and all that. Because yeah, once you turn to animation mode, it automatically is changed to animation. Well, should be. In this case it didn't, I don't know why, but usually it is changed to this. You can see the arrow is different. So before you start recording, make sure you simulate it, otherwise you will have sort of like a jump and things can get messed up. Okay, Looks good. Now I will go into library, the default library, avatar, female, motion, and then I will use this walking in place. Okay, I can close that. And let's do recording. Okay, let's see the animation. As you can see, it's floating quite a lot. I mean, it's a fun look. I don't think it's necessarily bad, but it's definitely not true to life. So in case this is not the look that you want to achieve, there are ways how to improve it quite easily. Okay, so first of all, I want to delete this animation, and then I go back to simulation mode. And one thing that's my personal preference, I like to have something in the backpack so that it actually looks like it is filled with something. And in this case, I will do very simple box. So I copy these pattern pieces from the body. Like this. And now I will delete these curve points, so it's more of a box. Delete these internal lines. Copy this part, so it's sort of like a lid. Bring it down. Do sewing. Okay, and I will reduce the size by 20%, so 80%. Simulate. And here I have my box, and now I will select it and move it inside the backpack. Okay, so here I have the box. Okay. And now to make it seem like there is something inside, I will copy this fabric, add it to the box, and then I will dramatically increase the density. So let's start with maybe even 4,000. You can see that the backpack is dropping. That means that the weight of the box is pulling everything down. However, here we have to be a little bit mindful. If this is very heavy, it will end up stretching parts of your backpack. So to avoid that, well, of course, depends on the design, but I think in general your backpack should not stretch. So I can recommend to select all the fabrics that make your backpack, and you can put maybe 60. If you put very high value, it might look very stiff, so I think 60 could be quite okay. And then let's see, maybe you have to put some more weight. Since there is not much stretch happening now, maybe the inside box needs to be much stronger to affect the look. You see now it is bending the bottom of the backpack. The backpack itself is sort of collapsing. And it is not so much looking like a box anymore, so for that, maybe we can also improve the bending. So here it's quite bendable, so I will just put it all on. Maybe 80 is too much. Let's do 60. And these I will put on 0. Okay, let's see what happens now. Okay. Maybe the weight is so high. oops, I made a mistake a little bit. So the bending should be on high value 80, and these buckling should be on 0, yes. If you put buckling ratio on high, that means it's very bendable. And these ones should be on 100, sorry for that. Okay, let's check. Okay, seems like now it's much stiffer, it has the weight, it's pulling down the backpack, and the backpack is collapsing and having sort of a more natural look. Okay, so that's one point that I like to use to have more natural look. But the most important point is to add pressure to the back piece of your backpack. And this is this piece that is close to the body of the avatar. And it is important to add pressure to it. And the pressure should force this pattern piece against the avatar's back. So that means it would not move away during animation. It would not move away from the back as we saw before. And then, okay, so first I will show you what value you need. So if you have the case like this, where the right side of the fabric is looking towards the back of the avatar, then you need to use positive value for the pressure. So let me put negative value and you will see what happens. So I'll put minus. As you can see, the back part is now being pushed away from the avatar. So that's why you need to put plus value. Also, maybe 70 is too high, so you can always start with a lower one. But it really depends on how stiff this part is. For example, if it's a very stiff back part of the backpack, you might have to go with the highest value of pressure, because if it's very stiff, it will not bend. But if it's very bendable, you might have to use lower value. So you definitely need to kind of experiment a little bit. Okay, and then now I will also copy this fabric and add it to this back piece. And here what's important is to adjust the friction. So I will put it on 100. And friction basically doesn't allow this material to slip a lot. So it will be kind of sticking to the other fabrics. So in the animation it will not be slipping up and down, so that also keeps everything more stable and nice looking. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Only 3 things. Add something in your backpack so there's some weight inside. Add pressure so that the back piece of your backpack is being pushed towards the body, and add friction. Okay, let's go to animation and see what happens. Okay, let's have a look at the animation. It does look much better, much more natural. I like the bounce because I do think it shouldn't be totally stiff, considering there's something in the backpack and the backpack also should be moving. I think there is still some room for improvement. I do think this part is too heavy. The fabric is definitely too heavy. I should revisit this and reduce the value because first of all it totally collapsed, so I lost volume here and also it is coming through. So I definitely think I should go maybe with 5,000 or 6,000. Yeah, have to see and try again, or maybe have to make a little bigger box and maybe attach it somewhere to the side so it doesn't collapse so easily. Well, there are many ways how you can improve this. However, I think the pressure that was added to the back piece of the backpack worked very well to keep it from floating away, the avatar from floating up and down, and also the friction of the fabric helped a lot. So I think especially these two are very, very important, and hopefully when you try this, you can see how those work in your specific cases with your specific backpacks. I assume they're backpacks with like padded back pieces, so in that case might not be that easy to add the pressure, so I would recommend to add like a dummy pattern piece, which afterwards you can hide or delete. Yeah, I think you can do quite a lot of experiments with just these two tricks that I used this time. Anyway, this is it for the video. I hope some of these tips that I showed you today are useful in your work. Thank you for watching and have a good day. Bye.